You are not going to believe this. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name's Chris and this is Restoration Rescue. So last week we ripped out the transmission because the whole thing locked up. And thinking about it, I really don't know what caused it other than that plate jumped and locked the transmission. Even though pulling the side, it still was messed up, and that was probably because I was in gear. So the transmission didn't want to roll while it was in gear. So what we have to do now is I'm going to clean this thing up. I'm going to get that plate back on, get it set where it needs to be, and mostly get it back in the truck. And the reason I say mostly is because when I put it together last time and put the shifter column together, I forgot some parts. So at least that's a good sign. I know what I need. They're on order. They should be here this week. But we're going to work on getting that done. We're going to work on getting the door jambs set, ready for some primer, get them filled in, and get this truck one step closer to being able to drive again. So let's go ahead, hop into this transmission, and start cleaning her out. So one of the reasons I want to clean the inside is because it still looks really dirty in here. So I'm going to take some brake clean and whatnot and just start spraying it in there, getting it all cleaned up. So there's a couple reasons that I want to clean this thing out. One, when we pulled out that fluid, it was kind of dirty. And then two, I just want to make sure that there's not any shavings in there. And then we're going to have to come back in, clean this surface right here so we can remate the gear selector to the transmission. I have to go find my RTV, get that thing ready, get this thing clean and dry, get this thing cleaned out. So let's go ahead and start spraying this thing down. All right, so we have everything where it needs to go. This thing shifts nicely. Obviously, there's no fluid in there right now. What we're going to do is I'm going to let this dry and get nice and set before I add any fluid in. Everything moves around. You can see the rear tail end moving. So I'm very happy with that. I did have to take this back off just to check because this was not shifting correctly when I first put it together. So now we're all in neutral and it's ready to go back in, which is nice because I don't have to do anything to set it really up. It just has to go in, get bolted into where it needs to be, and then we have to put back in the drive shaft. So that's not a big deal, but what we're going to do now is we're going to shift back towards the front of the truck. I'm going to try something with these brakes. I bought a new bench bleeder. I'm going to re-bench bleed the master cylinder and maybe hope and pray that that will get our brakes where they need to be, because I am really sick of playing with these brakes. I couldn't get an expert here this week, so hopefully we don't need one. But let's go ahead, hop back up. We're going to get this bench bleeder set up. I have more brake fluid because I'm going to run out at some point. So let's go ahead and do that and see if we can get some brakes. You are not going to believe this. We finally have a pedal. All right, so after weeks of going at this, we finally have a brake pedal. Thank you. We have had brakes, we just haven't had strong brakes, and now we actually have a pedal. So when I'm pushing it, I have pressure back at me. So I guess this whole time, I just needed to re-bench bleed. That was our issue. And now we have bled the brakes. We have a pedal. This is a very exciting time here. Now we just need to throw this damn transmission back in the truck and get this thing driving down the road again so we can put some more miles on it. But again, we have to wait for parts. So we'll come in here in a second and show you what we're missing. So right here, we are missing a grommet. So I have one of them and I just need to push it into here. Now it has a metal thing in here, so that'll take care of all the slop that's in here when we shift. So I have ordered a couple of them. I have one here on hand. I used one already, and that's on our accelerator pedal right now. So I've ordered a couple things from Classic Industries, which would include 4 of these. So I have one for up here, and 2 on the top side, because that's where those go, so that we can finally have a shifter. Then I also ordered a new choke cable so I don't have to get out of the truck and choke the truck now. So we'll have one. It has an original style dial on it, like the pull and the little thing in the front. So now what we're going to do is we're going to hop onto the frame of this thing. or the body of this thing and the door frames. I have a little bit more of grinding on this side. This side still has a lot of work left to do. I'm going to grind this back and start getting ready to have some filler for it. I am going to fill some of the edges just so that I can have it look amazing. I want it to look smooth. I don't want any runs. I don't want it looking like the bottom of the cab right now. The bottom of the cab has some welding marks that I never ground down, which is fine. No one's going to see it unless they're under the truck. So we're going to get to grinding here. I want the door frames to look perfect, like you never would have ever known that I went in and re-welded stuff. I want it to look perfect. I know I got a comment a couple weeks ago about perfection. I know I am not perfect at this. This is a learning experience for me as well as it is for you guys watching. A lot of you may be at-home experts or you work in the industry, and I really appreciate you guys watching. I hope you guys give me some tips to make my job better. I still have that whole bottom corner to do to get that ready for primer. and I have to reprimer the whole cab again, except for the firewall, obviously, because that's already painted. We're going to cover up the engine so we don't get any crap in it, because I think last week we had some crap in my carburetor, so it did make me accelerate a little higher than I'm supposed to be, or rev out a little bit. So I may have to take that apart and rebuild it because I just didn't know. So we're going to cover that up. I'm going to do a little bit more grinding, and hopefully we can do some filling. All right, so we got a lot done today. We have my transmission, although it's still on the back of the frame, all set and ready to go in the truck. Waiting on a couple parts to get it back in with the shifter set up. We had an accomplishment here today. We have brakes. I have finally had brakes. I can't wait to get this thing driving down the road to test them out and finally see what they're like, as the first drive, they weren't really there. We had a lot of leaks originally. Now we have no leaks. We have a bled master cylinder, and that was our issue. So it was probably the leaks first. Then when we fixed the leaks, we didn't have a fully bled master cylinder. So we got that done. That looks awesome. And then we came in here, ground down the rest of what we had. I didn't really show that because why? You've seen it for the past month of me grinding and welding. So I came in and I hit it with some filler. We got it on the door here. We got it on the door here, and we have it on the door here. Now the other side still needs a lot of work to get to the side the same as this. We also have the back end that we still have to knock out in that cab corner to get welded and ground down and looking flush and perfect. So this truck is coming quite along really, really, really quick. So flashback is it has been over 2.5 years, or coming up on 2.5 years this month, and we have had a blast of a time creating and building and doing all this, not for just you, but for us. So me and Tim want to thank you guys again for stopping by and checking this video out and checking out all of our videos in whole. I hope you guys are subscribed to the channel so you don't miss out on anything else that we do. We have the 454 project. We have some old videos of the 300ZX. We have one old video of the other 300ZX and the F-150, as well as some really, really, really old hockey videos that we don't really like to talk about. But we have a lot of progress made here. We are going to do a little bit of touch-up paint on the inside as well. We have a dash to finish. We have some electrical to finish. We have a lot to finish before this project is done. I'm really hoping to have it done before the 3-month project point so that we can be running and driving. Just purchased some rear tail lights for this bad boy so we can at least have some brakes, brake lights, that is, and get some more of the back end done because I'm sick and tired of just looking at this thing without anything on the rear. We have this 454 that we still need to send the engine off the machine shop. I'm pretty sure that's something that I'm going to do this week. And we'll see you guys in a couple weeks on that. But that is going to be a wrap for this week's video. We'll see you guys next Saturday. We can continue working on the C10 project, hopefully getting it driven again. We are going to fill up that thing. We have all our parts coming in, have some bushings for the bottom, have some bushings for the top, so we can drive this thing down the road. We'll see you guys next Saturday.